Okay, so we're going to do Autumn Leaves, jazz standard type song. Just meaning that, like, if you play jazz, it's a song that everybody knows and everybody learns how to play and all that. So I Googled it a little bit, and Autumn Leaves, jazz standard, and there's been so many versions of it. I think I heard somewhere that there was like over 1,000 recorded versions of it, something like that, which is crazy. Some of them were a little more pop song type things. So anyway, it was written by Joseph Kosma if I'm pronouncing that right, in 1945. And then the French lyrics were written by Jacques Prevert, again, if I'm pronouncing that right. And the original title was and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this right, Les Feuilles Mortes, which is French, which translates to the dead leaves. And then Johnny Mercer, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, a famous songwriter, musician. Johnny Mercer wrote the English lyrics to it. And there's, like I said, so many different versions. Nat King Cole did a great version of it, if you want to check that out. But at any rate, so I wrote it all out, and this is sort of a slightly different arrangement by me, because ukulele, it's usually like a big band kind of a jazz thing with lots of like string accompaniment and violins and cellos and stuff. And what ends up happening with a lot of jazz standards is that so many different versions of it. There are faster versions of it, slower versions of it, in all different keys. Singers take different sort of take liberties with how they're interpreting it, meaning that they kind of change things around to fit their personal performance style. So this is written out for ukulele. I arranged it, and it stays for the first half of it. It stays pretty close to the original written out version that I found online, and it stays in the same key, the key of G minor. I believe what I found online was the original key for the song. So anyway, let's get into it. So it starts with the way I have it written out. The first line is 8 measures long. I have it written out as 4 lines of 8 measures, and it's in 4/4 time. And it starts with a rest, which is really like a pickup, meaning that it doesn't start on the beat 1. It starts on 2, 3, 4. Then the first full measure is now kind of like the second measure of the piece. So depending if you count the first measure with the rest at the beginning, or if you count the first measure as just what's called a pickup, sort of leading into the song, however you want to look at it. So it stays, the first line goes. Then the second line is exactly the same, except for the last 2 measures there's a little change. And then the third line is something different, and then the fourth line kind of wraps it up. And what I did was the first 2 lines I stayed pretty close. The third line I started to take a little bit of liberty with the melody and the rhythm and everything, and then the third line continued a little bit, sort of making it my own little version of the song. But nonetheless, it stays really close to the original. And I had to change some things because to make it a little bit easier to play on ukulele, as well as just possible to play on ukulele, because there were some chords that when I played them as written, I really didn't like how they sounded. And I know that in past lessons we've come up with stuff like that where, like, I don't know, I'll just make up like an A minor 7 flat 9 or something, which is a chord that actually contains 5 notes. Then when you play it on ukulele, you obviously have to drop at least one of the notes out, and then it becomes sort of looking like some other chord that it really wasn't supposed to be. So it's a little difficult sometimes. But anyway, here we go. So it starts with a pickup. So it's 1, and then 2, 3, 4. So it's the 3rd fret on the E string, open A, 1st fret on the A string, and then I typed it all out nice and neat and completely left my sheet with all the notes and everything on it upstairs. So I'll be right back. Okay, it's very unprepared today. So I have my super messy and everything that I actually wrote this out last weekend at Norwood High School when I was helping my son do his thing. So anyway, so the first, the C minor 7 is just barring across the 3rd fret. So, I'll start over. So it starts off 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then the next chord is the F7, which is barring across the 5th fret, and then the 6th fret on the A string. And then, so 5 on the C string, 3 on the E string, and open on the A, and then a B flat major 7, which is a really pretty chord, especially on ukulele. It sounds really nice, the arrangement of notes. 3rd fret on the G, 2nd fret on the C, 1st fret on the E, and the open A. So that's, again, 4 beats, so 4 strums. Pretty much like almost all of this stuff is just quarter notes all the way through, with a couple of half notes and a couple of dotted half note chords. But we'll get to those. So the B flat major 7, then E flat major 7, no, yeah, I'm sorry, E flat major 7, barring across the 3rd fret. I'm trying to look at both versions and I'm like, my messy writing and everything, but it'll all be typed out nice and neat for you. So E flat major 7 is barring across the 3rd fret with pinky on the 5th fret of the A string, then 3rd fret on the C, 1st fret on the E, 3rd fret on the E, and then a minor 7 flat 5. And that's barring across the 3rd fret, but only on the C, E, and A strings, because then you want to get the 2nd fret on the G. So if you bar across the 3rd fret and play the 2nd fret, you're still getting the 3rd fret. So on that string. Then a D7, which is from G to A, 2 0 2 0, and that's one strum that's on the 1 of the next measure, and then 2 on the C string, 0 on the E, 2 on the E string, and then a G minor chord. So 1 2 3 4, and then for the beginning again. So that's sort of like the only difference. At the beginning of the song it has the pickup, and on and on and on. The second line of the song still has the pickup where it should be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th beats, but we also have a G minor chord now on the 1st beat. So 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. And now here's where it changes on the 7th measure of the 2nd line. So it's the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, the 15th measure of the whole thing. So if I back up one measure to the A minor 7 flat 5, so that's 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and 4 is just that note held, the 1st fret, 0 3 1 on the A string. So that's held 3 4, and then G minor, 1 2 3 4. Okay, and that's the first 2 lines. So you know what? I'll play the whole thing. So 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2, whoopsie. 1 2 3 4. I lost where I was. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Okay, and now right here, if we stop, okay, it should sound like it needs to go one more time to be finished, okay, and that's because of the pickup, because the pickup starts on 2, so you don't have the 1 beat, so it's 2 3 4. So all the way through the piece it sounds slightly sort of off beat. So if I play the ending of the 2nd line again, hopefully you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to start at measure 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, start at measure 13. Sorry. Halfway through I'm like 8 and then 4 more is 12, but I'm going to actually start on 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So see how that sounds like it's finished? Okay, and that's mainly because of the pickup. Okay, then the 3rd line is where it changes, and I started to sort of make some changes with the piece. And you can sort of see at the beginning there's like a little scribble, and then here I just made an error. But then here there starts to be more and more scribbles, including actually like scribbling out part of a chord. This was a D7 flat 9 maybe, and I did not like how that sounded. And so as you can see, like as I'm going down it, there's more and more and more scribbles and crossouts and things, because I wasn't super fond of how it was sounding on ukulele, how it was translating over to ukulele. So I just decided to, you know what, I'm going to sort of start playing with it a little bit, which is a very jazz thing to do. It's very rare for jazz musicians to play things just exactly as written straight through with no improvising or no any changes whatsoever. Usually there's things that are added and stuff like that, a different sort of take on it. So anyway, the third line, as I have it written, measure 17, is the G minor, then on the E string, 0, 2, 3, so beats are 2, 3, 4 are the beats. The frets are 0, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that gets held. So that's just the open A string, second fret on the G, and then open A string again. Then a D7, excuse me, which is barring across the second fret and the third fret on the A string. So and then 0, third fret on the E string, 0 again on the A string, and then G minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just a G minor, and then that first fret on the A, first fret, open, first fret, and then a C minor 7 again, which is barring across the third fret. Then the F7 barring across the fifth fret with the sixth fret on the highest string, the A string. And then this is a little bit funky, just sort of like a real kind of change with the way some of the notes are laid out on the ukulele. So it's the third fret on the G string, 8th fret on the A string, so that's a bit of a stretch, 8, 6 on the A string, and then so that's E flat major 7. Am I doing that right? No, I'm sorry. B flat major 7. Did I do that right? Yeah. Yeah, B flat major 7. And then E flat major 7 is barring across the third fret. So the B flat major 7 is, what I'm going to do is bar across the third fret, and then with another finger, in this case my second finger, but you can use whatever works for you if you want to use 3 separate fingers, I'm barring across the 5th fret just on the C, E, and A strings. So that is the B flat major 7 at the end of the third line. And then it goes to an E flat major 7, which is keeping the bar across the third fret, but now just playing the 5th fret on the A string. Okay, then there's a little chromatic bit here where it goes 3, 4, 5. So, and then the next chord is pretty simply just a D sharp, but it continues that little chromatic climb. So 3rd fret on the A string, 4th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the A string. Then the next chord, the D sharp, has the 6th fret on the A string. So it ends up going. So you have that dun 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 dun. So where am I? Yes. D sharp, and then just that top note. Then C minor 7, and just that top note. D7, which is bowing across the 2nd fret with the 3rd fret on the A. That's where it was. Okay. And now that 6th fret on the A string stays for 2 beats, so it's a whole note. And then G minor 7. G flat 7. So that little bit is then F minor 7. Whoopsie. E7, I think. Then E flat major 7. And now that chord is a dotted half note chord rhythmically. So it ends up being 3 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the 1st fret on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, rhythmically, those two measures are the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just a G minor. So, isn't that lovely? My intent was to record a version of me playing this all the way through outside with some autumn leaves, but it's been like raining all week. So then like the one day that it wasn't raining, actually 2 days I think it wasn't raining this past week. One day it was like super windy, so that wouldn't have worked well just because the microphone on the camera picks up the wind, so it'd be like throughout the whole recording. And then the other day that I actually could have done it, I didn't have any time to actually do it because I was just too busy with working a couple things. So anyway, hopefully I'll be able to do a nice version of it outside with some pretty autumn leaves and add it to this video or whatever. But you know, it'll probably be a separate thing because I'm doing it's raining out today, and tomorrow, Halloween, I'm doing the We Will Rock You thing at Norwood Theater, and then Monday, I'm pretty busy, so I might not be able to, but I'll do it at some point and just tack it on. So anyway, so the last 3 measures, the last 2 lines, so the ending of the G minor thing from the previous, the second line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. fourth line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here we start a retard where it starts to slow down a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Playing this wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So actually, really, it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then stop. So that's what it should do. But anyway, there we are. And really, the ending, since this is the retard where it starts to slow down, the ending tempo-wise, since it's going slower, the one beat is really imaginary anyway. So, you play the last chord. 1, 2. And depends if you slow down like a lot, it could be longer. If you didn't slow down as much, it could be slightly shorter for that last chord. So anyway, there we are. Autumn Leaves.